Hey everyone, I wanted to share a moment from a recent game I played, just looking at the decisions that you often face on whether to charge and in trying to consider the consequences of that charge, have to weigh up the pros and cons of that sort of move. So at the bottom of the screen, you can see my unit of silver helms. I've got a battle standard berry in there with the battle banner. So like a noble with leadership 9, pure of heart, and they're all fanned out. They're going to do a lot of damage, or at least provide a lot of res. And I expect that they're going to win a combat against any of those three units that are up the top: the Dark Elf unit of Cold One Riders, or the Crossbowmen, or the Dark Riders. So I'm only in charge range of the Dark Riders, which have set up just outside of 12 inches for Scout. And my options really are to either charge that Dark Rider unit or to move forward. So I could march potentially. If I charge the Dark Rider unit, it's likely to flee, and I'm going to be left with my flank facing towards the Cold One Riders. If I don't, I can come forward, and I'm probably going to take a multi-charge from the Cold One Riders and the Dark Riders, I would assume. So, in this sense, it's interesting to consider what happens. Like, obviously, being charged would not be great. I lose my lances. The cold ones are going to strike first. So in the end, I decided to charge the Dark Riders, even though next turn I'm risking that flank or even potentially a rear charge from them. So the issue here is that if you've made a points investment like this, you really have to make it count. Being cagey is possible when you're running multiple small units or you've got things like a dragon. But I think when you invest in infantry or cavalry, you've got to make it count. And I had that large static res investment. There wasn't a lot I could have done in deployment. I had less drops and ended up that silver helm unit's going to go one flank or the other, really. And the issue here is that if I do nothing, I'm just going to get slowly whittled away by crossbow fire as well. The overarching point I wanted to make too was that if well, when you play a game like this, you have to sort of decide to push the luck. So people say things, always complain about dice in Warhammer, but you're rolling so many dice that you're going to roll plenty of ones and you're going to roll plenty of sixes. I think you got to make it happen. And in that sense, that's really what the result was. So after I decided to charge, in the next turn, Jem chose to flee with his Dark Riders. He needed an 11 or a 12 to go off the board, and he did. So, improbable series of events, but at the same time, that was what, just by putting pressure on, forcing something somewhat unlucky to happen at that time, meant that then if the cold ones were able to charge me in the rear, I had the combat res to probably hang on for a turn and reform. So, or fall back in good order and reform. So that's where we're at with this. I think you need to consider with charging the ramifications of what those charges are, but you should also try to be active where possible and not let the game come to you. I think if you're too passive in this game, you're leading yourself to be whittled down and letting your opponent roll dice that are too good for them and will eventually lead to your demise. So there you go, another tactics video from us. Thanks for watching.